Hello, viewers. How are you doing? This is midnight, but I decided to uh, talk briefly in view of what is happening. So let me just do a quick talk uh, on my liberation gospel. This is 17 minutes to 2 midnight. If you're awake, you can follow me up. If you're not awake, when you wake up, you can watch it. But I want to respond to the 11-point communique issued by the Southeast governors in Nigeria in view of what is happening. Many of us are losing sleep over the situation that is going on in our land, and it is important that I look at that. I know that this is midnight, many people are sleeping, but some of us are nocturnal birds. This is the time we think. So, but I said, cover this, Ndibo. Why we lack confidence in the Southeast governors. They just issued a communique. But before I look at this communique, 11 points, this is going to be a very short broadcast, I promise you. I want to just bring out two key quotations from world-renowned leaders. It's important. I'm going to talk briefly on that after looking at the 11-point communique that the Southeastern governors in Nigeria issued. First, I want to get this communique from my book. This book is a political history of the Igbos. Some of you, but I wrote it when I was in school back home, when I was doing my degree course. It's a short political history of the Igbos, and the name of the book is Wida Ndi Igbo. Wida Ndi Igbo. So first, I just picked out two quotations. I'm going to read it verbatim, then I will talk from there. First, I want to look at the quotation from Mahatma Gandhi, the legendary father of Indian nation. Many of you are conversant with Mahatma Gandhi and what he did, to bring India and Pakistan at that time when they were together. But he's the father of Indian independence. And in that quotation, I was talking about who is the 21st century Igbo leader. As if I know what's happening, because that's the chapter 8. Some of you have this book, who is the 21st century Igbo leader. This book is, the name is Wida Ndi Igbo. You can see it in some bookshops in Nigeria. As small as I was, when I was undergraduate, I foresaw all these things. But most of us were born in this struggle. We've been seeing all these problems right from when we are born. And the same problem lingers. And it looks like our generation wants to chicken out from sorting this issue, whereby leaving our children. If we get old, we don't sort this issue. Your children, my children, are going to grow up still struggling. It's not about coming abroad like some of us have come, or you struggle, toil, or you just embezzle public money, or you find your way in a robust situation and sort out your family. What about your extended relatives? I mean, what is happening now, if we don't take time, we are going to be consigned to the dustbin of slavery, to a servitude stage that we can no longer do what we want. Mahatma Gandhi said, and that is the qualities of leadership. He said, the politicians must share the sorrows of the people, understand their difficulties, and anticipate their wants. Become one with the untouchables. They should know what it feels like living in boxes, miscalled houses, which is slums of the city laborers. Identify with the villagers who toil under the hot sun, beating on their bent backs. Then they would truly represent the masses as their servants and not as their patrons. That is from Mahatma Gandhi. Then the second quotation is from our own leader, Emeka Ojukwu, who most of us acclaim as one of the greatest leaders Nigeria ever produced. In fact, the man who saw tomorrow, because what is happening today, he saw it at that time, and the rest of Nigeria just ganged up against the Biafra, and the propaganda was used, and they tried to annihilate the Igbos. Today, all of us are bearing the brunt. We've seen what is happening. It looks as if this is a South issue, but no, this is a Nigerian thing. But unfortunately, many of us have been hoodwinked. We are in bondage. We don't think straight again. So, and they are dividing us with religion and with ethnicity. So we can't think straight again. Ojukwu said here, and I quote verbatim, that our democratic rights must be used in such a way as to ensure that the right persons are chosen to lead. I mean, I'm quoting from my old book, Weed and Igbo, A Political History of the Igbos. That our democratic rights must be used in such a way as to ensure that the right persons are chosen to lead. We must not confuse champions for leaders or prominence for preeminence. We must not confuse eloquence for honesty. Neither must we confuse silence for wisdom. We must not confuse good looks for efficiency, nor bravado for courage. So I want to just look at these 11 pointers. I mean, the communique issued by the Southeast governor with regards to the Operation Python, or whatever they call it, in the Southeast, killing our youths, unarmed youths. I mean, terrorizing our region, whereas this is hitherto a region that is known for peace. I mean, if they're talking about kidnappings, if they're talking about crime, I mean, there are places, there are states in Nigeria that are more criminal prone than southeastern states. But we do know what is coming. Now, I want us to dissect these 11 points from the Southeast governors meeting. The first one is prescribing IPOB. The prescribed IPOB, saying that issues raised by IPOB should be referred to the Committee of Governors, Ohaneze Ndi Igbo, and the National Assembly through the chairman of the Governors Committee. Brothers and sisters, you do know that the issues raised by the IPOB, when I say IPOB, I mean the leadership of the IPOB, that these are issues that resonate with many Nigerians, notwithstanding our differences, notwithstanding that the typical Nigeria has this mutual distrust with us, that some Nigerians have vowed that a Southeasterner can never be at the helm of affairs in Nigeria. There's no need hiding from that truth. We know that it's very, very difficult. It's extremely difficult. It might be easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for an Igbo man to be a president of Nigeria. There's this conspiracy, and we try to feign ignorance about that. And issues raised by the IPOB are issues that resonate with our people. These are issues that even resonate with many Nigerians, because the awareness created by messages from the IPOB leadership is now, it's now causing ruffles. It's unruffling feathers. It's making regions that hitherto have been silent, that are afraid to talk, and they are beginning to talk. And that is why that privileged class, the privileged section of the country, they just want to nip things in the bud now. Given we are Nigerians, we think very deep, and I've always thought ahead. So I knew that this is what they are going to do. There's no need hiding the fact an Igbo man can never be president of Nigeria. This is a gang up. This conspiracy has been there, and it's very, very deep. They just want to subjugate us, and they've been doing this. But unfortunately for them, a new generation has emerged, and we cannot take it. No matter what it takes, we will seek every measure to redeem our people, no matter what it takes, by every means necessary. So this is a clarion call to our youth. It's not a matter of going to the university and you become a cultist, shooting your fellow guys. Time is coming that we are going to take laws into our hands. There's no need shying away from that, because we must redeem our people. We must redeem our people unless things are done properly. So the issues IPOB raised are issues that resonate with us. I have always said it. I am not a member of IPOB, but these are issues that matter to us. The structural imbalance in the country called Nigeria. So are we referring it to a committee of governors? Is it a committee that we know that are toothless? Ohaneze Ndi Igbo, it's just that Nyanwodo came in, and we are beginning to look at Ohaneze with. But it's just that because we have consigned Ohaneze to the dustbin, because Ohaneze to us is more or less a contract-seeking cultural organization. They are not representing us. If they say they are representing us, they must stand up for us. We are, I started looking at Ohaneze since Nyanwodo became their leader, with what he's doing. But if he's going to be cowed down by these toothless governors, then we will fight against Ohaneze. We will make sure that Ohaneze, anyway, Ohaneze is more or less a cultural organization. So that is number one point from the Southeast governor, prescribing IPO. Who gave them the authority? Where did they derive the audacity? We need to look at the law. And this is an organization that is in the law court. So you can see, Nigerians we don't challenge things, and we just keep quiet and take things for granted, because everybody is afraid. They're just afraid to die. The little thing, people will start talking of death. So must we be concerned to be perpetual slaves in our own fatherland? Proscribing IPOB. They don't have the right to do that. I mean, it is we, the people. It is you, the people. If you say, okay, it's all right, then it becomes. Our people say that Aro Baafo Yauru Umenala. Number two, in their point, they said all governors of Southeast to ensure compliance in the state. They are fast to ensuring compliance of their communique. They can't ensure compliance in developmental projects, in fashioning out regional developmental policies that can affect. Look at these people that are just self-serving, egoistic elites calling ourselves leaders. We know that many of them rigged their way to becoming governors. And this, as a matter of fact, a lesson to our people. The third point in their communique, they said Southeastern Governors Forum, Ohaneze Ndigbo, and National Assembly. That's they believe in the unity of Nigeria. Is it unity at all costs? I thought leaders seek the opinion of the people they are leading. I mean, we're not saying we don't love Nigeria, but Nigeria doesn't love us. I mean, I can't forget this proverb that we read in Ola Rotimi, his book, Oforawon Nobaisi, which when Oforawon Nobaisi quoted that, you cannot love a woman who does not love you in return. For loving a woman who does not love you in return, it's like shaking a huge Iroko tree to make tiny dewdrops fall. I mean, we love Nigeria. We show that with what we do, with our contributions to the development of the country. Does Nigeria love us in return? Look at somebody that became president, sending military guys to shoot our youths, to shoot the people he calls his citizens. I mean, I have never seen such callousness. I have never seen such wickedness, even during the military times. Deliberately shooting youths that aren't armed. And you are telling us that you believe in Nigeria unity. On whose terms? This is why, we are talking about the referendum. We're talking about Republic of Biafra. We are talking about our interests, the interests of our children, the future generation. Because if we don't do something today, if we don't react, if we don't show what we can do, I mean, we'll be concerned to become Hausas who are vassals to their masters. We'll be like the people in the core north. We'll be like the rest in Nigeria that can just take, because they are looking a way to conquer our spirit, to put down our resilience, to demoralize us. Nothing good comes so easy. We must not chicken out. That is number 3. Number 4, their desire for restructuring Nigeria for justice. They talked about their desire. Which desire? Governors who are toothless bulldogs. And when we say even toothless bulldogs, I mean toothless bulldogs back They don't even back. I quoted Ojukwu before I started. I remember he saying, do not take silence for wisdom. They will just look at Anambra State election is coming. All of them, they've turned deaf and dumb, and they want to be your governor. They can't even issue statement. They are afraid. Is this democracy? I mean, why are they afraid? If things are normal, why are you afraid? Why must you be shut up in a democratic setting? And the governors are telling us that their desire for restructuring Nigeria, for justice, with desire. Are you serious about it? Because you want to tell me if these governors stand up to say something as governors. Ojukwu was able to act because he was a governor. He said, no, the killing of my people cannot continue. I cannot take it. Look at what is happening in River State. Nyesom Wike. If he wasn't talking, defending certain things in River State, you and I would have known where they would have put him or put people there. He is marching. He's even accusing. A few days ago, he accused the SARS of masterminding crime and armed robbery in the state. Can any of your governors do that? Can they do that? The fifth item in their communique is this is why this is one of the reasons they brought about this Operation Python dance, that reaffirming their desire for the gubernatorial election in Anambra State. None of the aspirants, they are not even campaigning. What are they campaigning for? I mean, what are their policies? What's their manifesto? This is it's just going to be a charade. The Guber aspirants in Anambra State, what are they planning to do for the people? Osmond Anebo is saying, yeah, Olumo, my brother, these are no leaders. Leaders arise from the people. Did any of these men truly arise from the people? Ojukwu was a leader. Mbakwe or even Kano. I mean, gubernatorial aspirants in Anambra State. What are their policy trusts? What are they going to do for the people? I mean, we have APC, we have PDP, we have UPP that just came on, and the incumbent governor suddenly turned dumb. Suddenly turned dumb. Now tell me, what are they going to do for the people? I haven't even heard them campaign. It's just their hallelujah boys and girls are just going about online, posting propaganda. You don't see the sweetness of democracy. I mean, the government of the people, door-to-door campaign, telling people how you are going to ensure security for them, protecting them, standing up for your people, telling the federal government, look, we don't take this. My people are peaceful. We don't want this Operation Python dance. How can you be killing our people and you say you are the president? We don't take that. That is democracy. These are ingredients of democracy. I mean, you're not calling for violence. the aspirants in Anambra State, they can't even issue a statement on what is going on. Then, and these are the people, one of them is going to be your governor. I mean, don't you think we deserve this? We deserve this because the height of political apathy among our people is alarming. Yet we complain, forgetting. And when you talk about this, some people will try to shout you down, they will insult you, they will talk all sorts of rubbish. Because if we keep quiet, these people will just come and take our land, take our people, do whatever. They are prescribing IPOB. Look at Fulani herdsmen. They are still killing. Few days ago, they still killed 19 people in Plateau State. None has been arrested. I haven't read where they said this Fulani herdsman was given 1 month prison sentence. I haven't. And they're sending military tanks to the southeast, showing force. God, what did we do? I said, cover this, Ndibo. Cover this. Where are my people going? Why are we keeping quiet? Is this fair? Our youths, are we not going to fashion out something to do? Are we going to keep quiet? Are we just afraid? Are we not going to redeem our people? They want election to, that is their number 5 points in the 11-point communique. They want election in Anambra to hold. And these aspirants, they haven't brought out policies. Oh, in the Anambra, I will make sure that your lives will be protected. I will stand up. I mean, Osman and Yebo talked about Mbakwe. I remember, I read it. Mbakwe was called the crying governor. Why was he called the crying governor? He was an MPP governor under an MPN federal government. But he stood his ground. And mind you, this was few years after the Civil War. He was able to stand his ground and say, no, I can't take it. I remember I was very small then, but I used to hear a slogan in Aba Mbakwe. And the structures that have lasted up to today in old Imo State was built by Sam Ononaka Mbakwe. And when we talk about this, they say we are radicals. Is this thing rocket science? Protecting your people. I mean, where is the sense of justice? They want Guba elections to hold in Anambra State, and still the candidates, they are not doing anything. They don't even care. They want to be our governor. They want to look at the governors we have. They can't even defend us. Fulani and Hausa soldiers are coming in, killing our people. Nobody is defending us. And the man that is bold enough to talk about this, they are trying to bring him down. They are so jealous. Let's go to number 6. Number 6, they are appealing to president to withdraw troops while police, while calling for police to perform their traditional roles of keeping law and order. They're appealing to president to withdraw troops. These same governors, there was no state of emergency. I mean, they wake up or no, they just woke up and instituted Operation Python Dance and brought in, whereas it is written in the constitution that the governor is the chief security officer of the state. Will they tell me that they are not aware that this military operation is coming to the southeast? They are appealing to the president to withdraw the troops and let police maintain law and order. These are your governors. What does that mean? Your governors, Mweze Omahi, Ebony, Willie Obiano, Anambra, Rochas Okoracha, Imo, Okezi Bazo, Abia, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. Some of them I remember. Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi crying when Fulani herdsmen came to Enugu and massacred people. He was telling people to fast. A governor that should be bold enough to stand and defend his people. They can't even form common vigilante group. Common vigilante group. They can't. In the north, in Kaduna, they have Hisba. They have Hisba policing people, breaking hundreds of thousands of liquor, arresting people, ensuring. I mean, it sounds like state police. Your own governors, they're just shaking. Common statement, they cannot do anything. Osmond Anebo is still contributing. He said, one thing you are missing, Olumo, is that the feudal north would never allow a true son with balls to be the leader of the southeast region. Instead, they select men full of wobbly flesh and bone, but no spirit and manhood, as their puppeteers, lording over us in the region. This is one of the major consequences of the Biafra War. Loss of true sacrificial leaders, pre-independence, and over years after this civil war, trying to say, all the major leaders of the region were true men of the people. We are afraid of death, but surely death will come one day or another. Azotando, Edowara Young, I am truly saddened. Of course, why wouldn't you be saddened? Thank you for that contribution, Osmond Anyebo. I've never seen. There's still contributions from Eze Pius. We must take our destiny into our hands. Time to scatter Nigeria. They have conspired that an Igbo man can never be a Nigerian president. Yes, they conspired that from Eze Pius, Anyanwu Jude, watching from Lagos. Yes, this is what we are facing. I mean, but we allow these things to happen. We, the people, because we are afraid to take sacrifice, especially the youths. And when you try to do something, you see your people, they won't even support you. I've given a instance before. I set up a newspaper in Ireland. My own people tried to bring it down at all cost. Igbo, many of the Igbo Union tried to bring it down. I set up in Africa World newspaper that's championing the issues of Africans. Before I used to write for other papers, but I saw that they weren't bold enough to publish some of my articles that dealt on immigration, that dealt on asylum issues, that challenged certain things here. I said, no, I'm going to set up a publication that will be bold enough to talk. I did that. My own people, even they find a way, they prefer to advertise where they will pay more than supporting their own people. As you walk, I never see. I haven't seen this kind of attitude among our people, and this is one of our problems. Ndị Igbo na-atụ ilu weta odogwu ka egbuo, weta dike ka egbuo, oru ihe odogwu achọwa dike. All of them are bringing down Nnamdi Kanu. Who among them can stand up like Nnamdi Kanu to talk about issues that resonate with our people? I mean, the guy is not my brother, he's not my best friend. But these are the issues that matter to us. I mean, this was why we loved Emeka Ojukwu. Why did we love Ojukwu? Some of them, you know, we take Ojukwu as our hero. Whatever happens. Because he stood up. Yes, he was human. Of course, he made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I do make mistakes. But he had balls, like Osman said. This generation, in fact, there was one talk, one lady, I saw it in Africa World site where they posted it on Facebook. The pussification of man. Maybe if you go to YouTube, type it, the pussification of man, you will see it. You listen to that. A woman, but she talked about Lily Liver. We chase frivolities. We forget that Chineke, God gave us that power, that strength, that courage. We are the chosen. We don't need to be afraid of anybody. Afraid of who? We are God's children, irrespective of the fact that we are sinners. But we have abundance of grace. From the way we survive and the way we prosper, you see that we don't need to fear anybody. What we need to do is to be resilient and work together and support. When you see a common somebody who is doing the right thing, where is again? Don't you or you got my home? But you know, we see what is good. We try to bring it down. We try to kill it. Because how can we keep quiet? They are gradually taking over our land. And we keep quiet. And we cannot support causes that can redeem our people. Let me finish this 11-pointer. I just talked about the 6. The 7, they said they've taken, I know from the topic of my talk, I said, cover this in Igbo, why we lack confidence in the Southeast Governors. So I'm dissecting the communique they issued at the end of the distance, in which I've been looking at it point by point. The 7th point is they said they have taken concrete steps to protect lives and properties. Look at these people, Mumu governors. Which concrete steps you've taken? You were there. Fulani headsmen have been invading Enugu, terrorizing, killing, raping women. You were there. You were there. Even these headsmen use AK-47. They terrorize states, across states. Don't you see them? I see them in Oka, in Owerri, in Okigwe. They have AK-47. Nobody challenges them. They go into the farm. If they see a woman there, they rape the woman. And some of these cattle rearers, you see them sleeping with cows. And they rape our mothers, our sisters, infecting them with diseases, killing some of them, and even their husband. You see a husband with his wife in a farm, watch his wife being raped. Some of them don't even talk. And we have governors. Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi was crying before the media the other day, was telling people to pray and to fast. And when you've been given that leadership position by God to protect your people, what will it take you? And they are issuing a communique that they have taken concrete steps to protect lives and properties. Which concrete steps have they taken? When they are there, soldiers are hunting down our youths, killing them, shooting them. Will they feign ignorance to that? Evidence are bound. We thank God we're in the era of social media, smartphones, whereby almost everybody is on the spot journalists now to take these things and circulate online. And they're here issuing communicate, telling us that they've taken concrete steps. They've not taken a share. And we know that, but we keep quiet. Instead, we turn to Hallelujah boys, singing their praises. Do you wash? The eighth is that they said they're in touch with northern governors forum, assured of safety of our people. They've not assured us safety in their own territory, in where they are chief security officers. Is it Nugwaosa Kahage assured of our safety? Legally. I mean, look at your governors. Look at your governors. Our people say, onye pakwara nko ahụhụ singwere biara ya oriri. This is what we want. Is it not what we want? Is it not what we want? That is what we want. Because we keep quiet. We don't want to be involved. The height of political apathy that is among our people, they don't even care. You want to go to the market in a zone negi nagi, because you will still import goods na container. These same people that are in charge of you, we seize your goods. We don't want to get involved politically. When we don't get involved politically, this is what we see. You see, somebody will just suffer and raise money and import goods from abroad. One bay, no nothing can on a rural, it's just small nonsense signature. Deka ebuma otakara nede 1 2 3 6 on Napugego. Because you don't have people. Who is in charge of MPA? Go only in charge of Nigerian Post PLC. Okay, a very young girl, only Fulani. Who is in charge of MPA? She formed the group that were championing for Chibok girls to come back with Obi as a person. They used Obi as a person. Sorry. They used Obi as a person. With the lady. I don't know if she was girlfriend to El-Rufai or whatever. And they deceived Obi as a person. Hoodwinked Nigerians. Guy everywhere. Even I forgot to say. Okay, yeah, I'm still coming to that. I'm on the 8th item. That they're in touch with northern governors. Assured they assured them of the safety of our people in the government. I was saying MPA. Who is in charge of MPA? MPA may generate billions every month. Who is in charge there? One Fulani girl in charge here. Former girlfriend or assistant to El-Rufai. She formed this Chibok Girls Return pressure group with obvious question. K-born or not? Here any appointments. Dump use Obi. You know, this is what Buhari is doing. Putting his people, check in the Fulani, in the Fulani, na strategic position. Eba na kote jibe go to Aneko. She's in charge of MPA. They can import anything, import contraband. It will not be expected. They have the powers. They mobilize their people politically. How all people are hazard. Ose ndi Igbo agawa ahịa. Unu na-aga shop. No n'ofu shop ahụ. Mgbe ọbụla anọ na shop. Ihe nke ị na-azụ Enugu ka without political power, it is useless. Without it, check Godi today. The Israel, the Palestinian teach because they suffered that not even Second World War, Hitler, how many millions of them died? And this is true. Check in about Yesu Christi Bernois. Herod or one Pontius Pilate or one yeah, Roman governors. Our people are actually interested. You know, that political apathy is drawing name. Onye ọla chọrọ ịzụ ahịa ị na-azụkwa na-akọta na-atụtụrụ ndị a na-eburu ya ebe ọdọ. We don't want to take sacrifices. We don't even want to take sacrifice for the future generation. Selfishness. And we suffer for it. Look at our governors. They can't even stand up for us. I said it yesterday during my broadcasting giving. Northern governors went to White House and reported Jonathan to Obama. Check out. This was one of the reasons Obama had to make sure that Jonathan left. That one just chickened out. No, he was afraid. Set Yanni back. This is why Haj Anwena gang up. There's a gang up. There's conspiracy. It's very deep in Nigeria that we will never smell the presidency. And that is why there's no progress in that country. Because Evil is in power. They don't want to create prosperity. It's just for the privileged few. And they're telling us that they are in touch with the Northern Governors Forum. Look at the Northern Governors Forum, who can't even arrest. They couldn't, arrest the Arewa youths that issued ultimatum for October 1st. Ota. Gideon Akaloka was beheaded. How many years ago? Is it not 2 years ago that the woman was killed in Market Square? In the Market Square in Kano. They are good in issuing governors that have allocation, governors that command authority. Look at what Wike is doing in Rivers State. I mean, I'm not his fan. I'm not following him, but I've seen one or two things. They've been trying to take over that state because they want to take Rivers State. It's an oil state. That was where Amechi doled out money to contribute to funding Buhari's campaign. Tomorrow, if somebody will come out for election in the Saudis, and they will say, we worship, we want to be a loyal boys. They give us small money, we just forget our father's name. We can even kill youths. And now, Bamba, the slightest provocation, they'll start small thing in the universities. Hey, Bidoba Webe. Ebaga act, Haga acting. Can you make the Mokorobiani? Or I am with Mokorobi. Or I am with Mokorobia. Game wiki no chitamwanya. Game manani who do game. Because time has come that we will take laws into our hands. If things doesn't go well, we have to protect our people by every means necessary. I'm not calling for violence, but here we high game. If they keep killing our people in order to cow us down, in order to shut us up, when we don't have governors that can represent us, when people in the National Assembly have been cowed down, then what do you expect us to do? If justice cannot flow like the river, then injustice will continue. And whatever we have to do to seek redress, I mean, we have that right to defend ourselves. We'll have to find a way to defend ourselves. The governors can't tell us that they're in contact with their northern counterparts, that they have assured them of the safety of our people, when they themselves cannot ensure our own safety. We can't take that. That is why we don't have confidence in them. We don't have that confidence in them. So, number 9, there's a full investigation ongoing. Appropriate action will be taken. You and I know that is a lie. Which kind of appropriate action? Full. No, do they think? Look at these governors. I don't know if they are really educated or they think we are fools. Full investigation ongoing. Appropriate action will be taken. When they haven't even finished their meeting, the military made a statement proscribing IPOB. Then when will they take their action? They were in their meeting. They haven't even finished their meeting. The military hierarchy that doesn't even have the power constitutionally. Who gave the Nigerian army the authority to proscribe? No. They failed to proscribe the Fulani herdsmen. Imagine. Fulani, okay, IPOB and Fulani herdsmen, if they are placed apart, who is more violent? Who has killed more Nigerians? You know the answer. I mean, my interest is the interest of my people, and that is what matters. But these interests, are they the interests of these governors? Because just to collect allocation and keep enriching themselves, some of them are now demigods. You just get into political position, you become a demigod. I don't know. Those who said power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. This is right. Full investigation ongoing. Appropriate action will be taken. By who? When they are toothless bulldog, even while governors, while they are governor, chief security officer in the state, is it the Nigerian army who will take action? Investigation. Is it? Let me finish it first. Number 10. They're telling people to go about their normal duties, normal business, committed to protecting everybody. The fact is that we don't have confidence in them. And the last one is we should be law abiding. We've always been law abiding. That is why they're intimidating us. They want us to obey court orders, whereas they don't obey court orders. They don't want us to demonstrate, whereas their people are even carrying guns, rearing cattle with guns in our own territory. Can we do that? Can you take a pistol and go to your shop in Kano? I mean, this shows that we are slaves in Nigeria. This is a fact. Some people owns the system. In fact, that's few. And the people we call our leaders, they're not our leaders. Like I said it. There was a jingle that I used to go on when I was small, during Babangida era. Was it Mamsa, or during that time they were doing transition program? I love that jingle. When I was very small, I crammed it then. I always sing it, and it has stuck in my head for many years. I want be Oga, easy to talk. If you want be better Oga, open your ear, hear your people, oh, and they put you there. Oh. Brothers and sisters, this is the situation we found ourselves in Nigeria. So I think we're trying to look inwards and look at the best approach to things. I mean, sooner rather than later, things will start unfolding. Because we have a duty, we have a destiny to change the direction of our people. And nobody, nobody will ever stop us from doing that. Nobody, not even their desperation to cow down some people within us. We understand that sacrifices are going to be made in this struggle. It's part of it. And some of you do understand that for you to achieve anything great, you must make sacrifices. And we understand that this is part of nature. Even in the Bible, campaigns, there will be loss of life, we know. We don't want our place to be a theater of conflict, because we have suffered it. The time is coming. Our time is definitely coming. But it's important that we are resilient. It's important that we don't give in. And it is very, very important that we support ourselves. If you have that conscience, if you have that conscience of humanity, you must support. It's very important. Because one of the problems we do have is that we don't support ourselves. We don't support ourselves. So when we don't support ourselves, then we are in for trouble. It will be. I didn't want to bring in River State and Delta State. River State governor is an Igbo man, but we know the issue there. Nyesom Wike. Onyesom Wike. We know the story. An Ikwere man. But why wouldn't they deny that they're not Igbo? Because we have been confined to being second citizens in a country our fathers fought for. They're now saying we don't love Nigeria because they've succeeded in pushing us to the wall using propaganda and using some of us, to buttress their points, to push their agenda, empowering the people they can easily use among us. I see some of them, when they lose touch, they start coming. The other time I was looking at Onyeka when she lost her position. She started because she's Igbo. Now you remember that you are Igbo. You were in that position. From day one, I haven't ever seen you talk about your people, champion the issues of your people. You see, that selfishness amongst us, that greediness among us, because of selfish aggrandizement, egoistic tendencies, then our people should perish. Look at governors, because they are governors. They can't stand. The moment they leave that seat as governors, they turn Igbo leaders. Begin to talk rubbish. They'll start championing Igbo causes because they're now, some of us know these things. The thing in Agwike, in fact, it turns the stomach. God have mercy on us. So I said, let me dissect these 11 points. And this is why I said, cover this in the, where are we going? This calls for sober reflection. We have to think deep, especially most of us that are young, because this is time and the onus falls on us to do something. What do we do? While we, yes, we hold Kaga culture, but we have to do something. I mean, by any means necessary. Our people has to be okay. We can't be relegated. That is why we are championing the cause for Biafra, because Nigeria has rejected us. I said it before in proverb. There are some people who will easily say, "Hey, we rejected ourselves. We rejected ourselves." The structural imbalance clearly relegates us. And why? Because the people that are reaping today were smart enough. Let us not say they're not smart. They were smart enough to use the rest ethnic groups in Nigeria to deal with our people. And they used our resources to trade. I too know. At the same time, how can I manual rule today? How can I manual rule today? It hasn't finished. We don't want to help ourselves. Why won't we be in this position? Why won't we be in this situation? Look at these governors. What have they done? What have they done for us? They can't even stand up to their counterparts. Their counterparts traveled all the way while Jonathan was president, traveled all the way to Washington to complain against the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that a fight against Boko Haram is a fight against northern youths. And Obama hearkened to their needs. Can Southeast governors do that? Can they do that? That time we got attempt, Mayor. Obama welcomed northern governors. And they accused the president of Nigeria before the president of another country. And nothing happened. Anyabia, look at bunch of lily-livered people we have as governors. They can't stand for our people. They can't stand for their citizens. Yet, they tell us they're chief security officers of the various states. Shame unto them. I see some of their Hallelujah boys. They've already taken time going online. I don't want to mention them because they are getting monthly salaries from them. They are using every grammar to justify the impotency, the political impotency of these governors. Few of them, I have marked few of them. I said, let's not talk much. Thank you for listening to me. Good night and God bless.